YouTube is live.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace. It's Nyla, Coach Nyla. We're actually getting other social media taken care of.
Together for
So
y'all.
YouTube.
So, peace, it's Fatimah, Coach Fatimah.
Yeah. Okay, so we're getting together. Co-wives, co-founders, outstanding personal relationships.com. Outstanding personal relationships.
Yeah.
And we are to this month we are talking about cultivating relationships. The theme is cultivating. And we're gonna let you guys know what we're gonna be talking today while we wait for some of the other people to make sure that they are logging in, chiming in, and doing that. Make sure you guys are sharing, because sharing is caring. And make sure you are, if you are on YouTube, have not done it so yet, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you are notified when we go live. All right.
Send us some comments.
Yes, that's
IG, we see you over there.
I forgot. So yeah, let us know where you guys are watching from and everything like that. Oh, and how's the weather where you guys are? Because right here it is rainy and a little on the side. But alhamdulillah, it's all good. So those who are celebrating Ramadan, know that we're in the last 10 days. Ramadan. Here is like it's definitely like went quickly. Like what the heck, man? I'm like, I always feel sad when Ramadan is leaving. That's for real.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Keep some of your Ramadan practices going after Ramadan's over. Inshallah. There's still good practices.
Yeah.
Pick your Quran up, continue to offer salat and extra prayers, inshallah, and practice self-care.
Yes, and I like that, Marco, that because you guys see me looking a little stiff. I injured my neck yesterday.
She's dancing,
I was jamming on the one, just jamming on the one. No, but I stretched a little too much apparently, and injured my neck. And I need to take better care of myself. For that, my daughter teased me and said I look like a Lego character. If I am. So yeah, if you see any, you're like, why does she look weird like that? That's the reason why I'm looking all weird like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and send my co-wife du'as, please, and good energy, good vibes for some healing.
Yes.
We're going to try to, because she can't leave me now. I need her too bad. No, she's my, she keeps me sane. But yeah, send good vibes to her. We're going to try to take as good of care of her as we can.
Yes.
Inshallah.
So yeah, we're going to talk about that. See, cultivating relationships, and we're going to talk about cultivating relationships with others. And that includes you, our audience. We appreciate, the love, the support, the care, the questions, the comments, all that other good stuff that we receive from you guys. And we also, appreciate, you guys receiving us when we go live and all that other good stuff. However, there are some things that, we're going to be talking about prioritizing, your relationships and, cultivating priority as well. So yeah, but we'll give you guys a few more minutes to chime in to get everything set up so you can view the live. But yeah, let us know what if you are celebrating Ramadan, how are you guys 10 days going? If you are, some states we realize have opened up some stuff.
Yes.
So if you guys are in those states, let us know, how that's been going.
How's it going?
For you?
Okay, to ask questions yet?
Yeah,
absolutely. Ask away.
Ask away.
Because our state opened a little bit.
Yeah, I don't even know. I haven't even really been out like this. I don't even know what's
The craft store is open.
Yay!
All right. I went last night. She is open, and we are happy. Our happy place. Our lobby is open.
Is it? That
Yes,
is
she's
what's up.
open. Alhamdulillah.
They open up TJ Maxx, it's over.
I'm just saying. That's another one of our happy places that we like to go to and have went to together.
Yes.
What questions do you all have? How's
Yeah.
quarantine going, or the restricted, aka feeling like house arrest type vibes?
Restricted
How's
living.
it going for you all? And what you've been practicing as far as keeping yourself grounded while in the house more? Let us know.
Yeah. And we're gonna let you guys know what we've been working on. So we've been working on some things, and I know if you guys have been, those who follow our social media and have seen some of the posts that on, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on IG, we're showing some pictures of us in the lab, getting some work in, doing some things for y'all. And one of the things that my co-wife and I are working on is a program called True Queens. Yes. So yeah, it's exciting because exciting. I gotta tell you guys, one of the modules, I gotta give y'all a little sneak peek.
Yes.
One of the modules called Royal versus Ratchet. So I gotta put that out there because we're the premise of the program is pretty much focusing on being our best selves, not being our basic selves, being true that we are, and working on being better queens and not being, jesters, jokers, and trolls. So that's the thing when it comes to the royal versus red, because we are of royalty. We are royal. We are royalty, and we have to be careful what we allow media to put into our minds and cultivate this negativity that we've been seeing out there, instead of cultivating that is what is the word that's positive and strong and beneficial, right? So yeah.
All right, Assalamu alaikum, everybody. I'm trying to get this little IT stuff together. Coach Nazir here. There are a few questions and everything coming in, but as Coach Nyla, Coach Fatimah already discussed, we talk about cultivating our relationships and really prioritizing them. So right now, being in the last 5 days or so of Ramadan, so hopefully you're taking advantage of this, try to work on your barakat and growing. You're blessed to get to this point. For those of you who are Muslims, those of you who are not, peace. Shalom. Okay, so Zaina, I'll represent.
Yeah, Zaina.
See why you asked about the weather. No rain, and then Zay Israel saying North Carolina sunny, going up to 81 today.
Hey.
Raise the roof.
Yeah.
Put your t-shirt in the sky and wave it like a helicopter.
Right.
Steve Pablo told us.
I guess I
You know
should.
that song.
All right, so Zaina asked, well, before we even really get into this, because there's some pretty good questions already, and cultivating relationships and prioritizing. The reason it's important is because certain relationships are more important to us than others. Obviously, for example, we're Muslims, and as Muslims, there's no obedience to the creation and disobedience to the Creator. The most important relationship we'll ever have, and we choose to have, is with our Creator, the one who owns us, our souls, whom we're going to return to. So there's nothing that trumps or goes above that whatsoever. All right, and that should be the foundation for a person who is a Muslim who says La ilaha illallah. I mean, that's basic stuff. So the priority there is when it's time for salat, when we're fasting and everything during Ramadan, when the Creator says to do something, orders to do something, then we do it. We should be here and obey. Now, of course, that doesn't mean we're perfect or anything like that. We just have a perfect path. All right, return and seeking forgiveness and all of these things that are within that realm of our life. That's the most important relationship. And again, we're not here to teach you your deen or teach you Islam or anything like that. We go to the next level. What is your most important? Let me mute this here. What is the most important relationships you have in your life really after that? How productive are they? And how would you like them to be? And of course, that goes to whatever your values are and how you choose to really order them, if you will. And many people will say will be the person, the spouses that you are married to. All right, then your children. Some people may say children, they may be might just say children regardless, whatever it may be. So we had to look at ourselves and what we're doing with outstanding personal relationships to see, are we reaching goals effectively, the amount of people that we want to serve and to help. And things have been more and more by wave, whether it's through the emails or online or with us over with our coaching sessions and so on, that we had to reevaluate and look at our model, our business model, and what we're doing and so on, and actually try to figure out what is the way to reach more people and have a stronger, more lasting impact. Because we do it dual fold. I mean, we want what we're doing now to benefit us, of course, benefit now and benefit and help others now. But the most important part is we will be on our scale of good deeds is weighing heavily and very beneficial. And again, I said last week, we appreciate the duas. I mean, it's really heartwarming to get duas on many different continents from different countries, and we return those to you as well. And that's immense, blessings. So I had to really just evaluate, and we've come up with some different things that we're working with. That many of you, if it's your first time tuning in or just second time, you may not even know. Especially if you're not on our email list at outstandingpersonalrelationships.com, then you definitely really wouldn't know or not really privy to other things that we do that are not here on social media. So with that being said, Coach Nyla, we're alluding to a project they're working on, and talk to them a little more about it. Maybe even like the different modules and different titles and stuff like that. Yeah,
Gave a sneak peek.
So we talked about the, Royal versus Ratchet, which is one of my favorite ones. That's actually the foundation.
Yeah.
We talk about some really good stuff there. With the queens fixing each other's crown, your support system. So
what that's supposed to like. We go deep and we don't run from the hard stuff. So it's not like a little like it's a safe space, but we do get into some different topics, and we also have our personal stories in there and a lot of other good stuff that we won't give today, but we do have those modules and modules too. We have a guest that might be showing up on one of them. Let's see.
It'll be some good stuff.
It will.
It's good. I mean, we're in the we're not in production yet. So we're still doing some stuff with it. So, but yeah, we have some good stuff, and we actually do have. Here's the thing: we have a cool little part in there called, a king's perspective. I think that's pretty cool. We think that's kind of cool because here's the thing. Women, we can say a lot of things to each other and we can teach each other a number of things. However, sometimes we as women will say, okay, well, we do this because the men like it or the guys like it or the and it don't be that way. And you're like, who told you that? So to actually have a man's perspective, on these different topics that we break down as queens, but actually also have a king's perspective on it is an awesome addition. And we actually got a piece of the idea from, I can't remember his name, but he was the author of the book, Power of Focus. And his wife, Jack Canfield did that?
Canfield and
Mark Victor,
Louis.
Yeah, that's it, Louis.
Yeah. They both did.
They did, yeah.
Jack Canfield and Louis. But yeah.
Yeah, so his wife, that one, he did a book called Power of Focus for Women, and in her book, she actually had I want to say in every chapter, it was like a man's perspective. So he had his part of what he had to say about each topic or each chapter or anything like that or something like that, which is really good. Because here's the thing, we are not in this by ourselves, So it's really good to have that other viewpoint. So I thought that was a really cool thing. And that's the thing too. So if you see you know, Michael and I are working on a lot of things, and you'll see our faces because I know we get the little messages and texts or certain things, not text, but the messages that are like, well, where is the king and where is he at and this and that, whatever. He's not too far away. He's probably behind the scenes doing the thing and everything like that. Just same as if see something that he may be working on. We all this, you know, we do this together and we get each other's feedback on a lot of the things that we do. So yeah, you know, it's an exciting process, but it's in addition of saying that it's an exciting process, the things that we are working on, it is it's a labor of love. Me
Right,
saying that
yeah.
is also saying that it's labor intensive.
Yeah.
So that's the thing when Coach Nazir was talking about at the beginning, where it's like, you know, we have to sit and we do come together, a meeting of the minds to figure out how are we going to best represent, you know, ourselves, our brand, how are we best going to reach out to the people who are reaching out to us and things as far as that in the most effective and efficient way. So
It's gonna be a good time. When we had a good, I mean, creating, it's work, but we had a good time creating it for you all, and we really hope you enjoy it. I'm sure you will.
Okay, I'm just going to list a few of the different behind the scenes projects that we're already working on. For those who want to go deeper, again, when we share with you right now, we're sharing kind of what we do in our Relationship Mastery Inner Circle membership. We have a monthly membership where we go and dive deeper into numerous different topics, of course, including polygyny and your personal relationship and personal development, where people download worksheets and audios and they go back and forth with us. They have our personal emails and so on. So with that being said, that's the Relationship Mastery Inner Circle. So I'm working on, and I'm going to I listed them here so we make sure we have it because there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes. We have the Mini Masterclass. All right. True Queens is what they were just discussing. We have the Man Up course, which of course I'm leading on that point and then getting their perspectives as well. Then there's the Candid Cowives Conversations podcast and Let's Talk Polygyny book Uncensored. That's currently still in the works. So those are just in goal setting, go getting already.
no, you did not.
I just skipped right over. Goal setting, go getting, course and everything in this art as well. So these are some of the things that are behind the scenes that are recording and filming for our students and people that we're working with, because we find that the people who obviously, you know, they join our courses, they go deeper in looking for some serious solutions. So even with our Relationship Mastery Inner Circle, that's $77 a month. And, you know, you get us live, you get the trainings, you get the downloads, you get all this other stuff that goes on, and also even a bonus coaching session as well. So we find that at $77 a month, that's less than filling up a gas tank a couple times. If you were, at least for us in the States, I don't know what country you may be from. You know, just saying. And one of the things that we learned a long time ago is that if you invest in yourself, that's your saying, right?
Yeah. Priceless.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? And in business, I remember a Benjamin Franklin quote: "Invest your purse into your mind to turn around and invest into your purse." So in general, basically, if you invest in yourself, return ROI, that ROI, that return on investment, you're on a whole nother level. And some take things that are free 99 just really for granted, you know, because it does take work, you know, and again, it's a labor. So those are just some of the things we want to discuss some of those real quick before we go to answer some of the questions. I
was gonna say, just
How are you? I thought you just did.
No, I gave them the
No, he
titles
gave
of
the
it, but I
titles.
didn't go behind it. You know what I'm saying? So the Polygyny Masterclass obviously deals with polygyny from different perspectives, from best practices.
Exactly.
Now, I do want to let you know this. Since we practice polygyny, right, and you're seeing us right now, I want to remind you that you don't want to compare your chapter 1 to our chapter 10.
Right.
All right, so there'd be a common error. That usually is a common error. So a person's like, oh, I really want to see that or have that or do that and so on. But yeah, you get through chapters 1 through 9 to really get through chapter 10. All right, because we mistakenly, like, I think it was Muhammad Ali. I don't know who said the quote. It doesn't matter. The quote is still dope. Basically saying that champions aren't made, you know, in the ring in front of everybody with the guts and doing all the lights and all the applause. That's not what they're made. They're made in the gym. You know, they're made through the practice and the sweat and the pain and the discipline. They're made there. That's where the stuff behind the scenes that you don't see. So for my era, Jordan being the GOAT, we didn't see all the stuff. Yeah, we know he got cut from the high school team, and then they said, oh, you weren't that good on defense. He worked on defense, came back and won the award for the best defensive player. We don't see stuff behind the scenes, and it's easy to talk about sports because those stats are easily seen and viewed by everybody. So you don't see that when it comes to families or relationships, and so you don't really see the stuff, not in the houses, and you're not behind the scenes. And if you are being nosy, it's not really your business. Again, just don't compare your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 10 or chapter 15. You still have to go through the work. Now, keep in mind also, as humans, imagine if you went to go see a movie and it was just blah all the way through. You know, we like to see stuff where there's adventure, there's drama, there's stuff that's up and down and all. And then, you know, maybe the underdog will win, or there's something that happens that touches your heart or something at the end. But it's a spit of emotions. We're humans. We go through that. And every relationship is going to go through that too. Understand that's part of the process. And you have to be willing to go through that process if you want to get to the next. And in order to do that, we can't do that simply just on Sundays. We're having, you know, a conversation for maybe half an hour or so. So that's why we develop these courses, to be able to go deeper and really spend more time there. And that's what the Polygyny Masterclass really focuses on. It hones in on polygyny, period. That form of marriage, going from monogamy to polygyny, dealing with yourself, the emotions that are involved, best practices, what questions and different things to be asking at sit downs, or what judges, comparisons and assumptions, and shaitan slipping in, and a lot of different things. So again, we just have to be cognizant that there's a process, and the seriousness of the person really is on what they're willing to do. So if I say, hey, listen, you know, here's what steps 1 through 7, and you say, yeah, I'll take steps 1, 3, and 6. Yo, you know, it's on you. That's no longer really on me, if you will. I'm just saying, these are the steps. You can decide to take them, you can not take them. It's up to you, the success or failure thereof, or what you're willing to do or not do. So we want to make sure we're focusing and helping those who are committed, those who are serious versus just curious, those who are looking for solutions versus those who just want to make more excuses. So just get that across. With the Polygyny Masterclass, they discuss true queens. And I think that's really, really smooth. With that in particular, then I've been asked numerous times by many different people. And I started working on it actually in 2018 when I was in Malaysia, and finish it. So this Man Up course, really dealing with, you know, manhood, or dealing with what they say the king, or husbandry, if you will. I have 6 sons, and I teach them a number of different things, just as, you know, young boys growing into men and so on and so forth, more by demonstration than anything, but to go reverse engineer, put stuff down and set it up. That course, prayerfully, we should be done by next month. Goal setting, really setting goals, how to achieve them, how to deal with the psychological aspect of it, and what motivation is and not. You know, it goes deeper there. Candid Co-Wives Conversation. Why don't y'all talk about that podcast?
That's pretty incredible. It's another project that we wanted to do for co-wives, because we get so many questions about how to interact with each other, communicate with each other, blend our family, and everybody doesn't have children, and we know, but we talk about blending, and we just tackle some subjects, and we really get into the details of how we did things, or the best practices. And we always say the best practices, you get the best results. So we tell some stories, and we talk about our personal experiences as wives. And it's really, we keep it light, but we keep it very internally driven with a healthy intention to just spread the information to co-wives, so that if you're in a place where you're feeling good, but if you're in a place where you're not, this podcast will give you some insight prayerfully on, you know, what's it like, or what's the best thing to do as a co-wife, you know. So I love it. I had a good time with it. My co-wife, we kiki.
And y'all still do it. It's
and we still do it. It's ongoing.
So we have a secret season.
We do.
So we want to make sure that you are that you subscribe.
Is that it right there?
Outstanding.
GCC podcast.
Yep, that's it. I wasn't even gonna get it. I totally forgot. Podcast.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think she
forgot
got
about
an S
that
on
part.
her.
We'll put that on YouTube. I'll put the link just now,
on
too, if you want
YouTube.
to
So, yes, we wanna
download
make
this
sure.
secret season.
Check it out.
And Yeah.
So
I'm
this,
put on Facebook real quick.
and season 1 will,
It's for IG on outstandingpersonrelationships.com/CCC podcast. And C stands for
Candid Co-wife Conversations. Yes. So yeah, and season 1, actually, if you guys, are subscribed, you guys will know when that's out. But I'm gonna tell you guys now, it will be out. Let's see, May 1st. Yeah, you guys will be able to get season 1.
Yeah.
May 1st. So
2.5 weeks ago.
I mean, not May 1st. I'm behind y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, not May 1st.
I was like, wait a minute.
June 1st. This is gonna be June
I
already.
even know
I am in
it's the
a-
17th.
I'm gonna tell you
Your
this.
memory better.
I'm gonna tell you this. See what this quarantine did? No, this quarantine got me where I'm a month away. I lost a month. I lost a whole month.
All right, and then of course the Let's Talk Polygyny uncensored book as well. So
And we're not
those are
gonna be
projects
cussing
working
it.
on.
Uncensored people might get a little
Yeah.
triggered by that word.
It means real.
It just means we're keeping it real.
Uncut,
Yeah.
unfiltered, uncensored.
So if you have some questions,
It
comments,
is.
concerns, please, now's the time to address us because, this is what we mean. So when we're talking that, here's the deal. We will know probably maybe next weekend, y'all, after Eid, what the schedule will be. We're going live like what we're doing right now. We currently do it once a week on Sundays. That's going to be cut. We know that for sure. The question is whether or not we're going to just go once a month or maybe twice a month, only because we're dedicated to serving our members more. So we will tighten up these projects, make sure they're good to go, but also delving more into working more with our MIC members in particular. If you want information, that's outstandingpersonrelationships.com/RM for relationship mastery. Again, that's where we go live, downloads, everything like that, get bonus coaching as well. So, and we have our own private area for comments and that in our group. So yeah, that's that.
And we'll
So
still be doing videos and blogs
Yeah.
and things like that.
We'll
Make sure
stay
you
connected.
stay connected through the social media channels, so you guys.
you will be uploading twice a week and going from there and stuff. So yes. All right, now let's jump into this question. Now, El Ross Jordan, wa alaikum salam, what up to love the cat, to Bill of Peace, Muhammad, where y'all way from? I know a sister, like 1 or 2 people. I know Zaina let us. Well, I don't know, we know where she from. Didn't say where she from. Representing Philly. So, brother asked the question: what are some of the healthy reasons for establishing polygyny? New Orleans representing Ramadan.
Yeah.
Hey,
Know it.
My granny state.
I'm down with it.
Shout out to
All right, what are some of the
grandma.
healthy reasons for establishing polygyny? Well, I guess it will probably be better answered the opposite way. So, meaning, what are some unhealthy reasons for establishing polygyny? Okay, only because there's so many. There's a plethora for establishing polygyny. That's all you're asking is, what are good reasons for marrying you? Because polygyny is simply a form of marriage. That's it. You're married to more. A man is married to more than one woman, up to 4. In Islam limits it and restricts it up to 4 at one time. So, some unhealthy reasons to do so is, one, to just do it for the sake of saying you're doing it.
Looking like the man.
All right, looking like a punk. It ain't even a man. It depends on how
They think they'd be looking
Yeah,
like
you think
a
you,
man.
man, I got a stable or got these women. That's a punk. That's not even a man. All right, doing it for other people's reasons. Period. You're not doing it for the sake of family. You're doing it for the sake of or you're doing something temporarily. You're practicing muta without calling it muta. So you married 15 sisters in a matter of 15 months. Those unhealthy reasons in general. So what are the reasons to get married? I mean, there's a number of reasons for that. One, two, we have this desire, instinct for procreation, if you will, to grow a family, to deal with, committing to building a community. There was a question this similar question, this guy or this lady, she listed maybe like 20 something things, now Muslim, and was talking, I think it was like an African-American polygyny group, and just started listing a whole bunch of things like, repairing the community, for example, making sure that every woman has a husband, and she based their stuff on statistics showing women outnumber men, which we already know, but she was breaking it down like, listen, women outnumber men. But every woman does deserve a husband, and the pool that they have to choose from is small. Obviously, now not just talking in general, just for humanity. I'm talking as a black man. When it comes to it, I have black women daughters, and the pool is very small. One, they're only going to marry a Muslim, period. And two, the quality must be there. One, they must be attracted to them. Two, and that's not even the first characteristic. That's usually the man's first characteristic. Got to be attracted. That's not usually the woman's first thing. But they have to be able to lead them. They have to be able to provide for them. They got to be able to be emotionally stable, not have mental health issues. You have to worry about issues in society today and whether or not they're a man or a them or a or whatever other pronoun they want to be known. People want to be known as, and homosexuality stuff. Then you got the whole incarceration thing going on. She just listed a whole bunch of stuff that was right spot on, which just shows the wisdom of polygyny in general for humanity. So there are so many blessings that go along with it if the person has proper intentions and is working growth and doing best practices. So prayerfully, that kind of answers the question. Because there's no, if you look at bad reasons, oh man, there's plenty. There's greed, there's selfishness, there's ego, which is the main driver behind the thing. There's a lack of current care, so there's many destructive things, and those are the things that, if it's not those, it's likely a good thing. Now there's not, we have to be careful also, because it goes into, this question also means, what are the reasons for going into polygyny? As though there needs a justification, because it doesn't. And usually many women say, well, why do you want to do this? Or why, polygyny and is there something wrong with me or whatever? That type of thinking goes there, because then, okay, I can understand now, because this person is a widow, or this is a single mom, or, this is somebody you're trying to save. I didn't need to be saved, so I'm good. But her, yes, okay, well, have her as a second type deal. They get that whole superiority thinking come. No, there's not a reason that you need to have in order to practice polygyny, but there are rules and regulations that must be in place if you're intending on doing it fairly. Otherwise, you're still gonna have to answer as the man, period. Then even from the other perspective, there are women that there's the celebrity sheikhs or celebrity imams, and they want to be practice polygyny with them just so they can say they've been with this guy. It's crazy, it's sick, but this is the type of thing that it does happen. But again, prayerfully, got what I'm saying? Do y'all want to add anything to that? Some reasons or unhealthy reasons?
No, that was pretty good. And my brain totally went somewhere else because I turned around, so my neck went and my brain was like, oh no.
Yeah, we gotta keep it short.
I saw a question that asked, do we eat iftar together?
We all have it together every night.
Not every night.
Not every night.
Y'all trying to kill us? We don't.
You know how many people that is?
It's a lot of people, guys.
14 people. 13,
and it's
14.
a lot of cooking for a lot of people. So we keep it cute. We have had iftar Ramadan together as an entire family. It was a production, but it was fun.
A week ago.
And it's also late, so we have some young single night. They need to get to bed. Them brothers will get irritated.
When they're together,
they love it. But
then cranky.
You can push it with them brothers. They get mad, want to go to bed. But
rocking Tatawi though.
That's true.
But that's after they eat.
Right.
But if you press them brothers too hard,
they
sleep. But one day, hopefully, inshallah, we're able to eat together more frequently during the week or in the month. But there's a lot of kids, y'all. You see the three of us. You don't see the, 15?
Total, yeah.
Total. It's a 15 nuclear thing going on. It's a lot of us. We deep.
Okay. We have some more questions. I know it's not compulsory for your wives to be friends, but let us see my wives get along. What are some tips you can share to achieve this?
Finally, somebody wants their wife. I think all you guys want your wives to get along. I would hope so. But I don't know. We were always cordial.
Courses.
Yeah, we break it down, y'all.
Yeah. All right. Like, of course, what are some tips you can share to achieve this? Again, it's not something that you can just be answered in 30 seconds. Again, you're looking at a chapter 10 verse chapter 1, 2, right? So that means that one is not easy to answer just really simply because there's a whole process that goes into it. There's really knowing what your personality type is, what your values and everything are, what the person's love language is, actually reaching out and expressing your goals and communication. Those are some tips. Those actually aren't tips. Those are strategies. Okay, a tip is, hey, try this. Go send her flowers. Oh my God, that flowers are great. Let's be friends. Nah, bro. It takes a little bit more than that, inshallah ta'ala. So, and again, they don't have to be. Is the desire there? Is your leader at that point to maybe influence or express it or deceit? You know what I'm saying? So there are a number of different things that go into it. We have discussed some of this. So you can check some of our videos, our previous videos on YouTube, where we do discuss it. But there's a whole strategy part that goes into it. That's one of the reasons, and one of the things we get and we deal with quite frequently, and we've discussed and deal with in more detail in our relationship mastery inner circle course. But just those few things, again, learn what your value, personality types are, what your love languages are, and expressing yourself, as the leader and what your desire is, and speaking to your wives, and seeing how fresh something is, or, are there other signs, how close are they in proximity? There's a number of different things to consider. I couldn't do it justice in even the last minute or so of speaking on it. But inshallah, you can find information, some tidbits, and string some stuff together, or check out our course, inshallah. Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Felicia. Fauzi says she loves the way you two flow.
Yeah.
Obviously, she don't like how I flow. It's cool. It's cool. All right. What country is this? I don't know what this is. Where you from? I don't know. How do you pronounce that?
Oh, Seychelles.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Seychelles. I don't know where that's at. Sounds like an island. Yeah. So Seychelles. Like, what's salam, sis? Being, all right. So let me see. You have to email us, sis, because our time, like we're talking about right now, and prioritizing, we don't just do it simply. Just go set up a Zoom, and it's very tactical. There's many different areas. Okay, yeah, we go quickly. Okay, so email us at support@outstandingpersonalrelationships.com. And Karim, are you married? White, this woman's.
He's married to us both.
Probably with these.
Yes.
These women's.
These women?
Yes, I'm married to these women's.
Well, sometimes
they
there's
not
a
white.
barrier. There's a language barrier.
Yes,
so
indeed.
we want to respect your language barrier, but it is.
Yeah, this is.
He is married to the both of us at the same time.
At least for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
All right, so okay. Allahumma ameen. Appreciate your du'as. If one of modesty, okay, so our brother Abdi Shakur says, how can I ask my beautiful wife to accept with me to marry a second wife?
I love these types of questions.
Especially for people that we know personally.
Yeah, I love these
I show up here. You might be outside in the parking lot or something. I don't know. You might be knock on the door in a second. Like, brother, take notes. Anyway, Abdul Shakur, alhamdulillah, glad you joined. Good
question.
If you was your beautiful wife, there's no easy answer, but by being a good husband. And it's kind of dual fold. The better husband you are, also it's going to be a challenge because you're a good husband. Nobody wants to share the husband. She wants you all to herself.
Yeah.
Like,
she thinks she does.
It doesn't matter how, if you have your favorite dish in front of you, a cake, whatever, some decadent chocolatey, whatever, or whatever it may be, it's this, right? And then somebody want to share it or take something from you. Now, again, if it's a whole lot, but if you have one normal slice you've been waiting on, it's there and it's that, and then all of a sudden you got to share, split that, and that's food.
They tell you to give you
Imagine
half the cake. No.
Another human being, or your child even, like, if I didn't love you, I'd give you just a little piece and you get a piece of the crust. I know it might not be the best example, but Coach Nyla got something to say on that.
I do, because it's funny, because I never thought about that, because I'm the one that's usually like, I want everybody to be happy.
She's generous.
I want to so it would be, but
foodie.
You put it that way, and I think about it, like, it's,
yeah, she
was. Seriously, that's why I had to laugh, and I said, I really do have to comment on this, because we've been asked on numerous occasions, And there's been sisters who asked me, like, what if he decides to get a third? What if, and I'm like, alhamdulillah, more whatever, as long as she fits in with the family. Because I think of it as an addition, not that, somebody's taken away. However, when you put in a perspective of sharing like your favorite stuff, like, you know what? I have like this key lime pie. I'm like,
I'm not gonna share that.
That's my thing. Kids are lucky that they get a sliver of a whole pie.
That's true. Because you know what? If you wake up in the morning, it's a little piece left, you go off. Like, what happened to the pie?
My stuff. So yeah, where's my soup? No, seriously, I just didn't think about it until you said that. I said, because my mental was on a different, it was on a different thing. But that's that part, is how you think about it. My whole thing was like, oh, I want people to be happy and to share.
Like,
but then when it comes to, when I was thinking about sharing your favorite dishes, I was like, wait a minute,
different.
It ain't about you being happy right now.
It's about us. It's about me. If I could add something, we don't know we want a thing until it happens. So in my case, I got older in this process like the rest of us. So 20-something-year-old me, something-year-old me was set up different. Now I'm in my 40s, and now I'm glad he's in polygyny, because I realized that I need more time to work on myself. And it's not that, when he's around, it's bad. It's just that I noticed that I need more time to practice different things for my personal development without, him as this distraction. So I've evolved over the years in getting older, and I didn't realize that I need time, but alone that I would need certain things as I got older. So I don't think polygyny is something accidental or haphazardly fell into his lap. I think it's something that was needed for our family period. So, and 10 years ago, you would ask me, I wouldn't have had the same answer. So sometimes the sisters don't know. It can be beneficial for them, but it's hard to see that when somebody wants G-snatch half your cake.
So that's the thing.
She might not never.
You might not even want to snatch half your cake. She just want to hug. She just want to have a good family that she's seen.
You did
it may
that
not
food
even
thing.
be that.
You did
Now,
that food
on
thing
top of it,
messed
though,
me
let
up.
me get a little more practical with you, Abdul Shakur. If alhamdulillah. So one of the things also that we've learned is watching some of our videos on YouTube have helped some people and sisters that have emailed and spoken on it, even locally, to really get a different perspective. Because when you hear about polygyny, like most news, you'll hear stuff. The negative stuff spreads 13 times faster than the positive. I don't know where that stat came from or whatever, but I just remember that some learned from some of my mentors. They're like, negative news spreads fast, 13 times faster than positive. And we are private individuals. And I know we're in front of cameras right now, we're talking and stuff like that, because we had to weigh out whether or not it's beneficial, if it's more beneficial to share and help and empower others with good intentions versus just doing our thing, letting other people figure it out on their own. And we recognize that it's better for us, now and later, inshallah ta'ala, to help, to pour in, to positively impact other people in this area where there's so little resources. And, and that's really for good reason. For those, we've met several people who actually practice polygyny and doing well and thriving in it.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons is that privacy is there. They don't put all people in their business, which is a good thing. So we had to be like, okay, privacy is important, that's where we are, but should we kind of put down this wall to help other people kind of let them in and kind of share? And we decided, that is the best way to go.
And we prepared for it because we knew that people were going to come for us. You prepare for that. If this is the decision and the choice that you're going to make, when we decided to put our, our lives and our journey out there, as a teaching tool for others, we knew that, the comments were we knew that we had to prepare for that. So yeah, that's people are not. They're like, no, I'm just y'all doing it. I remember when we were in Atlanta. They came to us directly like, I'm glad you guys are doing that.
It's cute.
Because I would not do that. I was like, we are glad that you do, because we need it and we're good, and they're in polygyny and they're great, but they're like, I couldn't see myself on a poster on this or whatever.
Y'all know how I was set up, so I felt that.
So, you know, so it was really good to see that, but they're like, I'm glad that you got, people have said that. So it's like, you know, somebody got to do it, you know?
You're right. And you know what? I like the whole cake thing that our
That's what
husband
you-
brought up because it's, you know, and my co-wife said it too. It's, and I'm making myself hungry, but it needs to be said. You think about if somebody tries to take something versus invite you to share a cake with them. It's different than them saying, I'm just, you know, take half of it. It's not that. And I think if your wife finds out that it's going to be taken from her and you'll stay with her, it gives a certain amount of security. But if she feels like something is going to be removed from her to herself or her children, because it's not just share the husband, it is indeed, it can come to sharing your children because you have children with your other wife, you have siblings, and that must be respected. But if she can get some type of, well, it's not security, it's called something else, reassurance that you're not gonna go anywhere, then it can really, really help. But if she doesn't know anything or you just hit her with it, then you, bro, don't do that. That's gonna be a whole bunch of stuff that you might not be able to, you won't have the tools to handle. So best practice is have a good old conversation.
Multiple
It
conversations.
helps multiple.
All the time.
It helps.
For real. Because, I mean, there are valid discussions and emotions and all that stuff that are there. So, one, be a good dude. And alhamdulillah, he is. I'm pretty sure we talking about this cool.
Yes.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Talking about.
You know, he deserves, you know, 3 more. Like, his sisters that really need you, bro.
We said it's okay if you,
Yeah, tell me that what he said.
we're gonna get us in trouble.
But, you know, check the videos out or join the course, you know, holler at us, inshallah ta'ala. It's no problem. You know, I have more children that need to get in your Quran class. So,
Yeah.
let's do that. All right, so continuing. Okay, I'm gonna switch over to
See you, girl.
YouTube. What's going on there? All right, so
I see some question marks.
yeah, I just want to make sure anybody. So rays of sunshine. So may Allah bless you all. Allahumma ameen. In terms of best practice, should a man tell his wife before or after he takes a second wife? And does your wife know prior? I'm assuming that's to me, right?
I believe so.
Okay, cool. Oh, one. Were you gonna say something?
No, I just,
Okay. It depends on the circumstances and situation. Again, there's no cookie cutter. Best practice is if you can do it sooner, meaning prior to and have the discussions and all that kind of stuff, that'd be great. I mean, again, if you can do it sooner, or if you do it after, it should be soon thereafter with it. The challenge, this question comes from something that, and I don't know if he's the first person that said it, but he's the first person I heard it from, where Shadi Muhammad talks about standing in your discomfort, right? Because, and that's the same thing with, it goes to a lot of the stuff is just dealing with discomfort, which means as a man, you have to deal with emotions I used to and different things, and you actually are forced to grow and handle things that you may not have done before. So understanding that principle is very, very important. So situations are the same, but it's best and best practices to, if you can, you know, the temperament of your wife, if you have discussions, if there's been preparations, if she knows that's a goal or something like that, to deal with it beforehand. All right, you may deal with other situations, other threats. I'm going to divorce kids and do this and this and that. Again, that goes through weathering the storm, or again, standing in your discomfort. If you do it, like the Prophet ﷺ did, he would do it, then he would come and let his otherwise know and stuff soon thereafter, which is better than later thereafter.
Exactly.
Okay, so those again are best practices. I did not notify my wife in advance, which again I had to own up to, because I could have done something. If I do it over, I probably just soon thereafter. Okay, and deal with the stuff thereafter. But preferably, again, you know, best practices speaking, you can do that before. But that, no, I didn't. I learned that was a situation it took challenge to get from that chapter 1 to chapter and deal with because of how I had set things up. So again, we're not just talking about from, oh yeah, we did this and it's great and everybody's happy. We are going. No, it's a process, and you learn from the mistake process as well, and the different far-reaching effects some things may have. Also, so no, I did not notify her before. If I could change it, would I have? Would I? Most likely. You know what I'm saying? So either before in advance or shortly thereafter, but again, it's usually best on the front end.
And also, can I just add something real quick? It's not just the wives that need to know things. Our children were teenagers. And because they knew I didn't know, they just took on this anger that didn't have to happen. So don't just think, it's like a whole family thing. So it's important to either do it before or right after. I agree.
All right, we're gonna go to YouTube again.
Dawood, we see you.
All right. Okay, so Akil asks, Assalamu alaikum, brother. Assalamu alaikum. How did you reconnect with your initial wife and the fallout from entering polygyny? There are other videos on YouTube that go into more detail about that. Really, again, it's a process. One of the things is practicing patience. One is being patient, is still being that good guy. You're available. You're still being, if you're a good dude. If you're not a good dude, you probably ain't gonna reconnect. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But if you are a good dude, people see that, even if she emotionally can't say that in anger, hurt, or pain, or whatever, other people will remind her of that as well. So you don't have to speak self of your reputation. Yeah. Other people will carry that on, period, on your behalf. We're non-Muslim. Yeah. I know Coach Fatimah, she had non-Muslim friends and aunts and people that loved her, that spoke about the situation. They weren't even Muslims. They're not coming with any hikmah directly, but they knew me as well.
And
so, and you deal with people that and that love both of you. It's not just, oh, she's a woman, I'm taking her side, or this person, So one is being patient, constantly being that and focusing on your personal growth to be able to deal with it, because there may be some situations, challenges, emotions. And if this is new to you, then it's obviously new to you. You may not be equipped just yet, might not have went through some stuff just yet to have some expectations at least, right? So, to do those things, and to just check some of our YouTube videos and the different titles and stuff, because we did deal with quite a bit. And then I'm gonna go into this next one before we jump back over to YouTube, Facebook. But Justice asks, so obviously it's not a set amount of time, but how long should you give? What should you look for to determine if your wife is refusing to grow?
You won't see it.
That's interesting, because I just heard something similar about, it was like on relationship theory. That was actually like a question on the lines of that about growth. What do you do? You have an answer for that? Because how do you, because I do. How long does
people, how long it's relative. It depends on who the person is. But for me personally, when I started to grow, other people told me I was. Whether that took 6 months or whatever, but it's her making a decision whenever she decides to make that decision to get out of her own way and want to go. The three of us, I found, because I knew the two of them wanted polygyny to work, but I didn't. I was like, I don't get this. I don't understand. I'm confused. But when I decided to be part of the solution and not part of the problem, then things did get better. Like, I'm old enough to tell, I'm too old to lie. So to tell my truth and say, when I wanted to feel better and grow, things got better. And other people said, Fatimah, you've grown. I see growth. I'm glad you two are talking. I'm glad you decided to talk. It wasn't it's good she decided to talk to you, because people knew her heart was always open and mine shut down. But I had decided to open it up because we have children, and I didn't want them to grow up and say, okay, you were the selfish one that caused this rift to where it's super tense and I lost my childhood behind it. Life is not going to be here always. And I figured out, I said, well, I'm here. And it was not this, people have come at me with this, you figure, Fatimah, what is it you figure you can't beat him? Who beating anybody? We're all here. So I decided I want to do things that are pleasing to Allah, not the things that are going to earn his anger. And if they benefited from it, if our family benefited from it, I'm happy with that. But earning Allah's anger stimulated my growth. So she has to decide. So it's kind of like on an individual basis. It depends on who the woman is. But the decision is if you're gonna stick around, how long are you gonna wait for someone else to grow? I couldn't sit there and not grow and then go, he's gonna stay with me and I'm just gonna sit here and not grow and be stagnant and just, I couldn't ask him to do that. Shout out to him for staying as long as he did, because I was rough.
So yeah, I think like what Fatima said, the answer to the question is you're looking for, these signs of growth, and it's up to you.
It
I mean,
is.
seriously,
It's
it's up to you how long you're
gonna take.
I mean, can't nobody really do that timeline of it's gonna take 6 months, it's gonna take 3 years, it's gonna take this, you will see, even if you see little things as for example, you don't see a lot of these snide comments, some growth there.
Yeah.
Or you don't hear those snide, or it's like, you know what, okay, all right, I get it, or you're communicating more. It's like those little things that we overlook, those are signs of growth.
She crack open a book about growing.
Yeah.
So personal development, that's the step.
He noted that he knows it's not a set amount of time, but what should you look for to determine if your wife is refusing to grow? Yeah, one of the things.
Yikes.
Was that it?
What the heck?
I don't know. Okay, it's probably one of the phones.
Okay.
One is really communicating and communication. So you'll know whether it's worth it to stay or to go. Because this is basically on a simple question as well. Some brothers say, listen, I want to marry a second wife, I want to practice polygyny, but my first wife says she'll leave me or do whatever, right? So, and she's not accepting it. So the question comes to whether or not you believe that you could either influence or persuade or grow or reassure, if you will, or decide to forego practicing polygyny and either living a life of resentment or just kind of burying that feeling somewhere deep inside. All right, that really it's up to you. But if somebody is refusing to grow, like literally refusing to grow, you know that. We need to decide on whether or not you're willing to put up with that. We know if they're open to it, if they're discussing it. If you're talking, if you can talk about something now that you couldn't talk about 6 months ago or a year ago, then there could be a little bit of growth. It might be small, but at the same time, as a man, you have to, exert your leadership a little bit more, kind of guide a little bit more, kind of say what your expectations and things are, moving in the right direction if it's worth it. Again, that's only for you to judge, but if somebody's refusing to grow, with new levels done, because we're talking about human emotions, likely children and family, all that kind of stuff. But growth is essential to your fulfillment in life. You know what I'm saying? At the end of life, you don't say, oh yeah, I wish I worked more, or I wish I saw that whole season of this show. So you want to live a more fulfilling life. And and you want those around you that you care about and that you love to go. So it can be so difficult and so hard. So you have to decide for you what those benchmarks are and what that championship team looks like. Inshallah, prayerfully that helped with answer.
With new levels come new responsibilities. So
all right.
Be responsible.
Now, we have to jump into this one though. This is interesting.
Uh-oh.
And first be new.
Bring it on.
The sister says that polygamy or polygyny is a man only. I'm not even gonna talk about it.
Not true. It's not true. You might be not true, but my co-wife can can answer that.
Both of y'all.
We will, but
okay, that's not. I mean, how come it's not true? I mean, we talked about it at the beginning of this live about a woman who's not even Muslim, who talked about the benefits of polygyny, and we say polygyny. I mean, I say polygyny because I'm assuming we're talking about polygyny, because polygyny is more regulated. It's a man married to multiple women, so you just have to get that.
A man married to multiple women.
I mean, a man. See, it's the pain that's going to my brain. Okay, so it's a man married to multiple women. When you're monogamy or polygyny, it's responsibilities that's there. So as a man married to multiple women, he has responsibility of caring for, protecting, and providing for those women, that family. And I always say that family because I don't split it up. It's kind of like that umbrella. With benefits, it benefits in how it just benefit the man. I can't. Like I said, could be new, somebody could be new. But when it comes down to, you see the family dynamic where when it gets to the point where it's women outnumber men, period. Whether it's by available men, men who can take care of women, men who are mentally stable, men who are not incarcerated, men who are not gay, or
bi.
or I said they're gay.
Right.
So those different things, you cut out all of that, it's still, now the pool is smaller and smaller and smaller. So then what is the legacy looking like for children? What about single mothers out there? It's all these different things where polygyny is a solution for a lot of these different issues. And it's benefiting not only the woman, but it's benefiting the children as well. I was a single mother of 2 children when I entered into polygyny. My children benefit from this union because they have brothers and sisters who care about them. They have a bonus mother who care about them. They have a bonus father who care about them. And the family, the plethora of other family members who care about them, and the connections that are made through our union. So, that's just a little piece. I can go on and on and on. The whole community in not just the man, but how the community benefits, because not only do our children benefit, not only do I benefit, not only do my co-wife benefit, but our community benefit because of the way we are raising our children and how helpful they are and how they assist and all this other stuff. So I can go on and on. As a plethora of benefits to polygyny where it's not just a man benefiting. Hope that helped to see, you just see it in a different light.
You want to say anything on it? All right, I'm gonna get direct with you real quick. Polygyny actually benefits women more than men. Like, oh my God, how? Okay, look, here's the deal. When you simply ready to dismiss something down to sex, let's talk about that, because that's what you're thinking about. Okay, and I'm not just talking to you, sis. I'm just talking to people in general. You just say, oh man, it just benefits them. They can have more sex, have sex with multiple women. Okay, you do not need to be married for that. You don't need to be married for that. Now, morally, absolutely, you should be married for that. But think about today's society. How many people are having sex that choose to say, hey, you know what? Get married first before I have sex. How many virgins are getting married right now in the world today?
Tell them, let me know.
And how much has that led to? So you might need a history of monogamy, for example. I'm not bashing monogamy because, again, we're not anti-monogamy. We practice polygyny, all right? And we teach on that. So I was married monogamously 15 years and now polygyny now 10. So with that being said, though, monogamy strictly says, hey, you have one legal wife. And so whatever happens in that marriage, meaning children, anything else comes about, you must take care of that. But don't recognize this Greco-Roman rule said, hey, you can have as many concubines, boyfriends, girlfriends, jump downs, mistresses, whatever you want to have, but they're not legal. So you're not required to take care of them. Polygyny, family-based, you must take care of these women. So now you have children from them, now you have household, you need to be a man and be responsible. So monogamy actually, when you look at it structurally and why it came about, because polygyny has existed far longer than monogamy. Monogamy lasts a couple hundred years, but since we're born in this time, we think stuff is just the way it is. And all of a sudden we begin to make definitions like, oh, this is just for the man, when in reality it's to protect the women, protect their honor, protect the family structure. We don't know that we used to be Christian, coming from that mind, you had the best man. Well, the best man was, the term came about because he's the best man for the job, because they would go and kidnap the woman that he would want, take her away from her family, and go ahead and marry her through force. Okay, she didn't have a decision in this. Islam gave a decision to women over 1,400 years ago. All right, so women honored here. Polygyny is an honorable and noble thing when a man takes that about. Do you think men right now, think about your relatives, your uncles, your cousins, your daddy, your grandparents. Whoever it may be. Do you think that these just simple monogamous men have never cheated, never stepped out? I'm not talking about all of them having, but I can tell you that over 90% of the relatives I have, I don't care if it's cousins, uncles, great uncles, grandparents, whatever, have done things that are immoral, something that kills your spirit. Because they didn't have polygyny as an option. And if they had it as an option, then the woman would have something to stand on, like, no, marriage before this here. We're going to pray first before we play. This is important. So it's a moral thing. It's really disrespectful. It can be just immature, or you just not knowing any better, boo-boo. It's all right. You might just not know. But polygyny is not some plaything for men. Men might be intrigued in the idea, but how many men you think are willing to step up to marry somebody simply for sex? No, sex actually is pretty cheap. They got prostitution stuff going on, jump downs on. You got chicks out in videos and broadcasting everything and speech and everything. Extremely immoral, right? Leading to all kinds of things. So let's not talk about polygyny as though there's some base words. Oh, it's just a patriarchal thing. Nah, man. No, it's and Islam came to restrict it only up to 4 at one time. So we need to be clear on it. Allahu Akbar. My wife MD, so Salat al-Dhuhr just came in, so we definitely gonna be wrapping this up. But again, it's very important to understand, because if you don't understand it, you begin to make statements, and that, especially if you're a Muslim, goes against Hakim, Allah Ta'ala, who is the most wise. If we don't understand something, it's better we shut up and study it more and be quiet, so that we don't jump off into something and say something that could actually be written on a scale of bad deeds. So prayerfully that helps you out there, but I need to get real with that, because that misconception is destroying our communities. And even if you're not Muslim, in my community, which is a non-Muslim community, where 80% of the households are single parent households, most of them by women, there's problems, there's pains, there's challenges. But a qualified man that's willing to marry and step up more than one and take care of and provide leadership and guidance, that's a solution to a problem that was detailed by now in 2020, 41 after history. So inshallah ta'ala, that part helped. One of our events is a full event. We try to get maybe a couple more questions before we wrap up. But I hope you understood that.
Can I just say something quickly? We're in this community that has single motherhood being practiced, but in such a the city is not small, but in the part of the city we're in, a lot of people know our family. They've seen us. Our children have a summer business that they were doing. They know that our husband has 2 wives, and it's a respected thing. So we're acknowledged as wife, the both of us. So that's a good feeling. And these are not Muslim people that acknowledge us. They see and respect the fact that there's a decision made for plural marriage. So this is not something that just has to be seen through the eyes of Muslims. Non-Muslims respect our union in polygyny as a polygynous family.
Okay, we're going to maybe about 5 minutes, inshallah. If you have some questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, I got a little heated, but it's important to understand.
No, because it does, it's serious. And me as a second wife or incoming wife or a co-wife, all that other stuff, coming in, it does burns my biscuits. No, to the point where, it's disrespectful. And, so we do have, and we're human beings, we have emotions and feelings and things like that. So sometimes, people have to check what they say first, and that's all, that's all it was put out there to do before you before you make a blanket statement about something that anybody practices or anything like that. Get the facts straight, or get the information. Now, it's one thing to have a question. It's another thing to make a statement, clear statement about something.
Yeah, and make a blanket statement to us.
Like it's facts.
Right.
To us, because we're not running from this.
So that's
Indeed. All right. So, all right, let me try this. All right, there's a couple questions. Felicia, salam alaikum, cat. She says for her polygyny is a jihad. It's definitely, it's a struggle. What are some ways to get past the anger and emotional roller coaster that comes along with it? She accepts Allah's decree, however, she's just tired of being sad. And I have to keep her in the du'as. Ameen wa iyaki ukhti.
Well, we talk about that in our RMIC membership area. We really do tackle some difficult topics. We talk about our own personal struggles. We know it's a struggle, to get those different emotions in check. It's not that we don't have them, we just check them. We're human beings. Of course, we have insecurities, jealousy, all types of things. People used to come for me all the time because Coach Nyla is younger than me.
Oh my gosh.
Is it because you're older and he wanted something new? I'm like, she's not a car. This is a woman. I'm like, she's in my age. She's a peer of mine. But people say that
Let's not get it off.
because they just knew I was older. They don't know numbers. They just knew I was older. We tell
y'all
y'all
both look like y'all in
4.
your 20s anyway.
But yeah, on a good day I do. But thanks for the compliment. But I didn't look like it back then. I was so stressed out, and we all were. But it's not that you don't have these emotions, sister. It is that they need to be put into check. We don't need to be acting a fool. Life is so temporary, and it is a testing ground for us all. And it is about passing these tests with the most control over our anger and grace that we can, and forgiveness, and that. But we do talk about those things in our relationship mastery inner circle.
And in our True Queens program,
And
YouTube, our channels, because when it comes down to it, it's your self-care. Like when it comes down to it, it's personal development. It's it's showing up as your best self versus your basic self. And I'm just saying that, from experience too, when I'm not showing up as my best self, it's nothing pretty at all. And I only blame me. I can't blame anybody because I have control over me. I have control over how I feel, what I say, how I take it. We don't have control over what happens all the time, but we have control over how we
React.
how we react or respond to it. We have that control. So the thing is asking yourself these questions. That's the thing. Once we ask ourselves the right questions, because whatever question we're going to ask ourselves, we're going to give ourselves some answers. But if you're asking yourself the right questions, you get the right answer. So if you're asking yourself, am I showing up as my best self or my basic self? You get the truth. And you ask yourself, okay, well, I don't want to show up as my basic self. How do I show up as my best self? Things are going to come to you because you're being sincere. Be sincere in being a better you, and it's going to all fall into place. It's not going to happen overnight. Don't beat yourself up about it, but just continue to work on you. And it's going to eventually come into place.
Well, that's what we did. That's what we did.
Okay, a couple of questions. Okay, we'll just jump right to the bottom. All right, let's get back up here though, because why do brothers like to have believers as a co-wife instead of a Muslim? Facts.
Let us know when you find out.
I would never
we don't
do
know.
anything. I would never
don't get it.
denigrate myself or my family by doing such a thing. And it's not anything to the non-Muslim women. They don't necessarily know any better, know what the rules of Islam are. So possibly that could be a reason. But personally, me speaking, I would only marry a Muslim woman, period. That's not even in the question.
He only did.
And I don't adopt the opinion that it's even allowed to marry a non-Muslim woman within very strict criteria of them being chaste, Jews or Christians.
No. Who was the imam? It's the imam or a sheikh that said if you a non-Muslim woman, you asking for trouble. He didn't say that you couldn't.
You would ask the common person.
He just said you in for trouble.
Yeah, indeed. So
and I heard that 20 years ago. I was like, whoa.
Fifi mentions that she said women have degraded themselves so much that they'd rather be a side chick than a wife. That's a part of society.
Yeah,
I think that actually it probably is in response to men. All right, men really not step up and taking advantage of women in general when it comes to them wanting, not practicing polygyny. I mean, that's a common example, where a woman, still have some companionship and have these different types of things, but polygyny is not an option or ostracized or something like that and get brushed to the side. But it's really men not being the leaders they need to be, in my opinion. Before we go to the women, it starts with the men.
And we
I mean,
definitely, I'm glad Fifi said that. We actually talk about that in our True Wings program. And we talked about having that a perspective piece as well to it. So we agree with you. We've seen the same thing.
Yeah.
So we decided that we wanted to tackle that in that course.
And that asks, how can a widow conquer her fear of getting involved in polygyny, most especially in a toxic environment like ours in Nigeria? What's going on with our Nigerian brothers and
What's
sisters?
happening over there?
Yeah.
It's rough.
Muslim country in Africa.
We've had some, maybe just a couple people in our community that are Nigerian that do say the same thing. You really got to study who you want to marry. Like, you have to watch and see. I know young sisters in our community that have been in college, for example, and the others don't even know that they're interested. They just watch how they operated with other people, and then they decided if they wanted to be, in a marriage with this brother. So a very young couple I know to this day that the wife watched her husband at school, at their Islamic meetings, at their what's that called, when the Muslim student organization in her local college, and she said he spoke about Islam, he practiced Islam, he was compassionate toward people, and that made him marry in her mind, and they are married. I think they've been married about 6 years now. So alhamdulillah, she really did her homework on who she wanted to marry and watched how he acted with others and how he moved about and practiced Islam. If I tell you those couple of things. That's all.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. Okay, man, those are one of those that you give a blessing, ladies. Indeed. Okay. All right, this is the last question. So, again, contact us, support at outstandingpartsrelationships.com. And again, naturally, if you are watching, if you are one of our RMIC members, you already know how to get with us. If not, check it out with the links and on Facebook and YouTube as well. But so the question, since you all knew each other prior to poly, wouldn't that have made it easier for you to tell your wife prior to getting married? What do you think?
No, he asked you that.
I know. I don't know if that's a he or she. I think it's probably female, rays of sunshine.
Oh, okay. You don't know that.
No, it's the brothers, rays of sunshine.
You don't know. These days, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, specify if you're male or female. But
No,
it doesn't matter.
Female, but either way.
It doesn't matter. We like to keep it light here. I've said this before. I had a friend of mine tell me, and when people love you, they tell you the truth, whether it's gonna upset you or not. They let you know how you're acting. And she said to me, I know you're mad, but are you the kind of wife he could have told? Now, she knows us both. Us both for 20 plus years. And I would have to agree with her. I said, well, was I the kind of person he could have told that to? I would have liked for him to tell me, because we have, at that time, teenage daughters. And, I didn't have the tools to navigate that properly. But had I been the kind of wife at the time, yes. But being as, I was back then, it would have been difficult too. And just for some history that he just didn't want to tell me, period. It was that my father, who has passed, was sick like every month and in the hospital, and his body was failing. He had heart disease, and it would just have been, on top of that, watching my dad die every month just would have been something that it would have been worse on me at that time. Had that not have happened, I would have invited him to tell me, but I will tell wives now, I'm sorry, but you need to ask your husband if that's something that he sees in his future. Because if somebody needs to tell you something, you should give him permission to do so. If you want another wife, let me know. We can work that thing together or work through it together. and help each other through it versus every man for himself, because that's how it felt. Please invite your family or the people that you love to have a hard conversation with you without feeling like they're going to lose something because of it.
Now, to that last point also, prayerfully people are true enough to have, because that is good advice.
Woman.
And yeah, I told you Ray said I was a woman. So
Okay.
if you can't have a conversation, that's great. But I know that if you do ask your husband that right now, well, let's say you're asking that and you're like, oh, the sister said ask my husband. So you go ask your husband. Your husband know he's not prepared for ready. He has the thought is in his mind. I'm gonna tell you that 99% of men I've ever spoke to, the thoughts definitely in their mind. All right, period. Now, whether or not they qualify for that is different. So they may say, no, baby. And they should say, no, baby, it's all about you. What more ask for what I want? They might say that right now because they're not equipped or anything for the time. But it's good you let them know you're open to the conversation. Yeah. But don't hold them against it. If in 2 years they get better, investments start coming through and stuff like that, then you know what? Well, now, I think I already had this conversation. And you're like, well, you said, so you don't have the right to change your mind. Just be careful with that. That's all.
We can change our minds.
Indeed. So we appreciate being with you and sharing today. And go on, you anything to say? Closing. I know she's not feeling well, so we got to.
Like, would you wrap this up?
I love being with you guys. Like, seriously.
But today
is really rough. Me sitting here,
and it's raining.
It's raining. I am diagnosed with rheumatism. We talked about that in our RMIC with the health portion and everything like that. So yeah, guys, but I enjoy, we enjoy coming to you guys and giving you guys sharing this information. However, that's what we were talking about, though. We were talking about the prioritizing. We spent a lot with you guys today because it may be we will let you guys, so make sure you are that you are connected with us on our list, outstandingpersonalrelationships.com, because we will be putting out how this is going to go in the future, because we will not be coming to live every Sunday anymore, because we do have to focus on our MIC members and the other programs that we are working on right now. So give this good quality content for those who really need the assistance and who are really being out for that.
And what topics do you all want to hear from us? When we do that, let us know.
And videos that we put out. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep, put in the comments. We do go through the comments, most of them, and try to either answer, or we do go back to them. So if you have certain topics, ideas, things that you want us to kind of speak on when we do go live with you, please feel free to let us know. Or again, email us, support@outstandingpersonalrelationships.com. And prayerfully, we'll get back to you and let you know the deal. Go from there. We look to see many more of you in our different courses that we have, especially the Relationship Mastery Inner Circle. So with that, we're going to go ahead and sign out. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh wa rahmatullahi muslimin.
We're signing out, guys.
Okay, over there, shut it off.
Yeah, shut it off.
See you later,
Did you shut it off right there?
Nope.
Okay, yeah. GLC, because I'm going to knock the GLC out. And make sure you continue to practice GLC. Make sure you are growing intentionally, we talk about growth, growing intentionally, loving fearlessly, and connecting at a higher level every single day. All right, assalamu alaikum.
Peace out.
You're like, please wrap it up.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace. It's Fatimah, Coach Fatimah.
Wait. This is still going. Stop it. YouTube.
On YouTube.